Today, I want to take you through some rare footage buried in the Epstein files and an absolutely insane conspiracy gaining traction on the internet. Let's get right into it. Now, as you may be aware, we have been thoroughly combing through the recently released 3 million pages of the Epstein files so you don't have to. I want to show you some of the videos we have found that caught our attention. Like this one of what appears to be an older man in a blue sweater and 3 other people, one of them redacted, watching presumably a woman dancing. Now, these 2 people have been redacted by the DOJ to protect their identity. We've replaced the music for copyright purposes, but other than that, this video is unchanged. Take a look. Now, we've played a couple of clips in the past videos from an interview Steve Bannon did with Jeffrey Epstein sometime in 2019, but we took the time to go through the nearly 2-hour interview and pull the footage that you may have never seen before. Remember, this is a video that was allegedly intended to help rehabilitate Jeffrey Epstein's image. In one question, Bannon asks Epstein about Wall Street. Roll the clip.
First got on the trading desk at Bear Stearns in the late 70s or mid 70s. Were you shocked by how little actual understanding of mathematics that the traders comprehended?
Yeah, well, again, we had a Texas Instrument calculator. Most stockbrokers, especially before 1975, if they were good stockbrokers, could add. That's about it. They could multiply. If you could multiply, you were already in the top 15% of stockbrokers. Stockbrokers simply meant there's a story. When I went to the first person, I had no money. And I said, how much money do you make a year? And he said, $400,000. I said, impossible. I'm making $10,000.
That's probably more than your family had made in its entire existence.
Yes. And he makes that in a year. I said, what do you do? And he said, it's too complicated for you to understand. He had a brother-in-law, in fact, in this case, who ran the pension fund at General Motors. His brother-in-law would call him and say, buy 1,000 IBM. He'd hang up the phone, he'd write it out on a ticket and walk it to a window. That was his entire skill set. Hello, write what my brother-in-law says, walk it to a ticket window.
Now, here is where he applies his thinking about Wall Street to world leaders.
You find most leaders financially illiterate, economically illiterate. Most
political leaders don't come out of a background of finance. Most political leaders come out of a background of being popular. So in some of the countries, in some of the African countries, for example, they might have been a military person. They were a general. Or in our country, they would have been an actor. The knowledge of money they don't have expertise, they have no degrees in finance. And this is one of the major problems. So many world leaders who don't really have a financial underpinning make fundamental errors when it comes to money on a country or institutional level. Many of them were just good at what they did in terms of politics. Remember, world leaders are politicians in general. They're not scientists, they're not intellectuals, they're not great thinkers, they're great politicians.
Now, for some context, Jeffrey Epstein was imprisoned in 2008 after pleading guilty to state charges of soliciting prostitution and soliciting a minor for prostitution. Here is his account of what it was like.
Solitary confinement, September 14th. And again, some of the public stories about the wonderful time I had in jail and my work release, which didn't come till months after. I'd been there since June, in an 8x10 cell with a bed in the back, a 6-foot bed in the back, a chrome sink with a toilet attached to it, and a little piece of metal sticking out that was supposed to act as a table. So in jail, I was in a place which was called the Special Housing Unit, which is for the roughest, toughest, meanest people. They had put me there, they said, for my own protection. So I was in an 8x10 cell with a little slit in the door where they would serve my food on a tray about 9 inches by 4 inches. And then as soon as I finished eating, they would take the tray and close it down. And one of the guards said, do you understand there's Wall Street's crashing? Sorry, Wall Street's crashing? What's happened? And he said, there's some crisis and some companies are going bankrupt. Yeah, it's all over the papers. We're all terrified we're going to lose our life savings because we have either a 401k or our pension funds. We don't know anything about money. Mr. Epstein can you tell us, like, what's going on? Am I going to be able to afford my children's education? Am I going to be bankrupt like this company called Lehman Brothers? And there's another company in the front page today called Bear Stearns. Oh no, I said.
Now this next part, pertaining to what life was like in prison, is very interesting. Roll the clip.
At the beginning, what were the comments?
It serves you fucking rich guys right that you're here next to me.
There was nothing about your crimes.
No.
So all this rumor you hear all the time about people in prison that commit the type of crimes you commit, you're saying in your personal thing is not true.
No.
It was all because you were rich.
Yes.
And it was all because they wanted to borrow money.
Or get advice. Yes.
What, they get advice to
stock
go long, to go long?
Yes,
Are you telling me
is this time to buy?
You're telling me in solitary confinement they're interested in going long?
Yeah. They want to know what
does that say
stocks.
about human nature?
Well, what I think the people find, one of the reasons they wanted to keep me in solitary confinement was they're afraid that everybody would want to know which stocks to buy.
I want to take a break from that right now to show you some more rapid-fire clips from the files, like this one, where Epstein is seen chasing around two girls in the kitchen. You may have seen it before, but take a look. And this one of a redacted individual in what appears to be a bikini modeling. Now, earlier I mentioned some conspiracies, and I want to talk to you about what the internet has been cooking up, and this one is insane. I need to address something that's been blowing up online since these files started dropping, because every time these documents like this get released, the internet does what the internet does. So there's a claim circulating right now that the Epstein files reveal Ellen DeGeneres as, and I'm quoting this directly from the posts, Hollywood's most prolific cannibal, that she consumed human flesh. People are sharing distorted images of her face, writing paragraphs about underground dystopias, calling her a vampire. Now, these are completely unfounded claims with no evidence to back them up. So let's take a look at what's actually in the files. Ellen DeGeneres is named in the Epstein documents, and that part is real. Her name appears in the broader index of over 300 high-profile individuals that show up across the investigative materials. You know, flight logs, communications, third-party interviews, peripheral records. But here's the thing that people either don't understand or choose to ignore. Being referenced in an investigative file is not the same as being accused of a crime. There are plenty of names in the file that are just referenced by a third party. There is zero evidence in the Epstein files connecting Ellen DeGeneres to cannibalism or any other wrongdoing. That claim is completely fabricated. Community notes on the original X post flags it. The documents themselves contain nothing remotely close to it, something someone made it up. It sounded insane enough to go viral, and now millions of people have seen it presented as fact. And look, this is important to talk about because the potentially real stuff in these files is damning enough. There are genuine revelations in these documents about powerful people and what they did or didn't do. And when you flood spaces with potentially fake claims about cannibalism and vampires, you actually make it easier for the people who have real things to hide. Because now, anyone who brings up the Epstein files may get lumped in with the conspiracy crowd. That's how disinformation works. It doesn't just misinform the people who believe it, it discredits the people trying to talk about what's actually true. But what do you guys think? We read every comment as always. We love hearing your suggestions on videos or topics we should cover next. As always, I'm Jakson Buhaj, and I will see you in the next one.